DFS Chan on September 30th, and I'm making this video to talk about the League of Legends World's play-in stage. Here, I'll share my screen and kind of go over the groups that we have for the play-in stage. As you can see, Group A contains Hanwha Life from LCK, LNG from China, LPL, and then Infinity. Infinity is from Latin America, and then Peace is from Oceania, and Red Cannons is from Brazil. So, for those of you who may not be familiar with the Worlds format, but this first week, we'll have these 10 teams, 5 in Group A and 5 in Group B. They'll be playing against each other within the group, respective groups. And then the first team, whoever finishes first in this group stage, will advance to the group stage. So those 2 teams, one from Group A and one from Group B, will advance to the group stage, and then they're gonna have a play-in tournament, single elimination tournament, between the 3rd place and the 4th place teams within each group, and then the winner of that game will be playing against the 2nd place of the other group. So basically, if let's say Infinity and Peace finish 3rd and 4th, they'll be playing against each other, and whoever wins that will be playing against the 2nd place from Group B to decide who is one of the last 2 teams to go to the group stage. So Group A has those 2 teams from Korea and China. So, people think Group A, it's most likely going to be Hanwha and LNG, but I'll share my thoughts on that. And then Group B entails non-Korean, non-Chinese teams, such as Beyond Gaming from Taiwan, Cloud9, as those of you who are familiar with the LCS scene in North America from the United States. Unicorns of Love, they actually participate in the Russian league. It's more like an independent states league. It's like a tier below than the EU LCS, or LEC rather. So, I mean, they dominated their region, but they're here as a qualified team. They are mostly made of Russians, but they also have a German root. I think they practice out of Germany. And then Galatasaray, for those of you who follow soccer, that's a pro team that has sponsored a gaming team, and they're from Turkey. And then Detonation Focus Me, they're actually from Japan, and they made some, big buzz in the MSI, the mid-season tournament that you guys have been familiarized with over the course of playing DFS and League of Legends. So we'll see what happens in Group B, but like I said, Group B does not have any Korean or Chinese teams, so really open for anybody, I think, maybe except for a few teams that I think are pretty bad comparatively. Obviously, like, these teams all made it to the Worlds and they dominated, or they won. They did well in their respective regions, and now they're here. So yeah, I'm gonna make this first video on the play-in stage, and then after this video, depending on who qualifies out of the play-in stage, I'll make another video that kind of previews the group stages. Obviously, group stages will be consisted of Group A, B, C, D, 4 groups, and then they've already did a group draw as to what the 3 teams will be in each group. And then depending on the outcomes of the play-in stage, the groups will be completed and finalized. Yeah, so it's exciting time of the year. League of Legends Worlds is the last ultimate, tournament for the year. And, this is what these players strive for and try to win. And, there's a lot of money involved and a lot of pride involved and actually dignity involved, because there are a lot of players that used to play for former teams that are now still in the tournament. So a lot of players that move around and have traded teams, they're going to be playing against former teammates and then former teams, and so there will be a lot of revenge factors, as well as just knowing team tendencies based on their previous experience and coaching and all that. So I'll talk all about that throughout these videos that I'll be making as part of the Worlds throughout the Worlds. So it's an exciting time. So let's dive into the play-in round one. As those of you who are playing DFS but also betting, I will give my takes on maybe some feature bets. I know some of you guys like to do that, just watching the tournament. Long-term bet. I'll tell you who I like throughout the tournament. So here, I just wanted to, before we dive into Group A, I just wanted to share a little nugget. So as you see here, I actually, took some time and took a look at 2020, last year's play-in stage of the tournament. And I was just looking at all the metrics, and here, this is very interesting that the jungle control percentage, which I emphasize a lot. I feel like, for those of you who, watch this for the first time or have not seen me before, I put a lot of emphasis on the jungle control percentage to determine, who's going to dictate the pace of the game. Obviously, that translates into the combined kills per minute metric as to, whether this game will have kill upside or not for DFS purposes and for betting over and under purposes for kills total. But also it's a big factor for me to determine the outcomes of the game as to who dominates the jungle and puts map pressure and pressure on objectives. And I feel like they're directly correlated in my opinion. So, but I just wanted to point out that in 2020 play-in stage, this metric mattered a lot. So that's obviously consistent with my model. As to here, LGD, Team Liquid, PSG Talon. Here, this was the outcome of the group stages, play-in stages for the groups A and B last year. So as you can see, Team Liquid and PSG Talon actually won the first places in their respective groups. So let's take a look at Team Liquid and PSG Talon. So PSG Talon here, as you can see, they're in the top 3 jungle control percentage. And then Team Liquid, they were the number 2 in the tournament in terms of the jungle control percentage. Now the anomaly is LGD here, but even though they had the best jungle control percentage, they finished 4th. But then if you go down, keep going, LGD won in the play-in knockout stage. They beat Rainbow Seven and they beat Legacy, and they ended up actually qualifying, for the group stages here, as you can see. And I mean, LGD, even though they lost, once they got to the group stage, they still made it to the group stage, and that kind of shows that they were a good team. It's just that they had some, hiccups in the middle to late game rating. And here, as you can see, maybe they just didn't have good team synergy and team fights, as you can see here. So let me go back to jungle. Yeah, so as you can see, minus 35. I mean, that tells me that they had really good early game rating, but terrible mid to late game rating, even though they had jungle control percentage. So, more than likely, if you have the control of the jungle of the map, basically, you're going to have more vision. You're going to, have control over how the game's gonna turn out. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you to kind of support as to what jungle control percentage means and how it translates into match outcomes. Now, 2021, I also took a look at the mid-season tournament that I was telling you about. That obviously happened between the spring and summer splits. So, it was the tournament where a bunch of teams from different regions, like I said, kind of like, semi-worlds tournament where, best teams from each region came together and played against each other, kind of tested out their competition level. So as you can see, like jungle control percentage, if I go there again, Damwon Kia, RNG and Damwon Kia dominated these, and they did really well. RNG, obviously did a really good job winning the MSI, even though they had a hangover right after that in the summer split in the LPL in China. But during the MSI, they were one of the best 2 teams, in terms of jungle control, and that shows that right there. And then I want to show you that Infinity Esports, Unicorns of Love, two of which teams are, also in this Worlds. So, I'll kind of point those out, when I talk about each teams and each matchups. Yeah, and then, so yeah, let's dive into is it Tuesday's games? Yeah, Tuesday's games. So Tuesday's games will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. That's a lot, right? So, we're excited, all the 8 games to watch all the 8 games, in the day. It starts in the morning at 7 a.m. because the games are being held in Iceland now, in Europe. So obviously based on that time difference, it's going to start in the morning here in the US time. For those of you who live on the West Coast, they'll be even earlier, but on the East Coast, it's going to be 7 a.m. And, I'm actually excited about that. I'm going to wake up and, watch a little bit of League of Legends, go to work and still watch a little more and, see what happens there. But yeah, and these are the betting odds that came out for the individual games on Tuesday. I agree mostly with these. Obviously, they're starting out the tournament with a banger, Korea versus China. Hanwha Life Esports that has Chovy, as you guys know, one of the best mid laners in the world, and LNG Esports. Tarzan, their jungler, has been lights out in the LPL as well. So it's a good matchup to begin the tournament. I would have to favor LNG, and I'll kind of go through each matchup, and then I'll kind of give you my long term thoughts for the group stage. For the whole group, and then Infinity Esports, and then Red Canids. I'm actually pretty low on Red Canids. I know they won the Brazilian tournament, CBLOL. I know they love to play fast. They love to skirmish and are a bloody team. So obviously, whenever you have a game that has Red Canids as an opponent or as a team, I would definitely upgrade the kill upside for both teams, depending on who you think will win. I actually think this is more of an even toss-up match. I think Infinity is bad, but Red Canids is bad too. So, between two bad teams, I think it can blow up. I think the kill upside is there definitely for this matchup. I know that DraftKings and FanDuel have different slate formats or structures. I think DraftKings has 2 separate slates, 1 2-game early slate, and then 4-game later slate, main slate rather. And then they're not including the last 2 games of the day, I think. So, and then FanDuel, I think it's a 4-game slate where they include the first 2 matches of the day, these 2. And then I think they're including some other 2 matches, throughout the day. So to make sure that they're not duplicating the teams, and obviously that wouldn't be fair if so they wanted to make sure, I think they only have a slate where one team only plays once. So, which makes sense. Yeah, so that's more of a toss-up in my opinion, but definitely a kill upside. So it's a good game to target for GPP purposes. And then LNG versus Peace. I mean, LNG should win, as you can see, minus 1400. Hanwha Life versus Infinity Esports. I like Hanwha Life here as well. Like I said, Infinity is bad. I'll show you why that's the case, and metrics support that. But Hanwha has been a little shaky. So if you want to take a really, really, really long shot, just on a day, matchup, just, a matchup for the day instead of betting on the features. I think this might be a spot where, you can target, I think plus 475 seems too much. Too good to pass. So I like that bet. I think Hanwha Life has struggled, and I feel like when they come into a tournament like this, they tend to struggle as well. So I like that bet from the betting standpoint. But for DFS, I mean, I definitely have to favor Hanwha Life to win here. I'm not really liking this game for kill exposure, kill upside, and I'll explain why, using my cheat sheet that has the metrics to support that. Next matchup is Detonation Focus Me DFM versus U of L Unicorns of Love. As the odds indicate, I do think this is a toss-up. I like DFM. I know they are an experienced team and they did well in the MSI. They're from Japan. U of L, they dominated their region, like I said, but they just played in the terrible competition level region. They don't even play in the EULCS or LEC they call it now. So I like DFM here to win, but DFM tends to play very slow. So I don't like the kill upside here. Even though U of L plays a little bit fast, I fully expect DFM to control the jungle. So I think DFM is going to dictate the pace that kind of puts a damp on the kill upside, in my opinion. Next matchup is Beyond Gaming from Taiwan and Galatasaray from Turkey. I love Beyond Gaming and Galatasaray, so I do think this is going to be a very good matchup. I love these two teams, and I actually have Galatasaray go pretty far, even in Group B throughout the play-in stage. I like Beyond Gaming here, though, to win this matchup. Beyond Gaming is really good. I do think they're going to finish first in that Group B. Galatasaray, I actually have them finish second. I'll explain that further later on, but it's an interesting matchup between what I think are two top teams in Group B. I have Galatasaray over Cloud9. That's going to be in the next matchup. Next matchup, like I said, Cloud9 versus DFM. This is very surprising to me. I mean, I'm not a huge Cloud9 guy. I know they played a little better throughout the latter part of the LCS, but DFM is experienced. People say, oh, Cloud9 has been around and, they have been playing together for a while. But so it has DFM, and DFM has now MSI under their belt. They know that they can compete against anybody. They just need to improve their jungling and the laning phase. But I don't know. I mean, I do think this is a little heavy for Cloud9. I definitely would smash on DFM's underdog odds here if you are a betting person. But if I had to guess the outcome of the match, yeah, I mean, I do think Cloud9 is going to end up winning if I have to guess. But I do think it will be a closer matchup than this. And like I said, depending on who you think will dictate the pace, which I mean, Cloud9 probably going to win. So I have Cloud9 dictating the pace. So, but I do think, I mean, Cloud9 also tends to play a bit slower than other teams on the slate. So I do think this is going to be a very low kill upside matchup as well. Last matchup of the day is Galatasaray versus the Unicorns of Love. Smash Galatasaray here. Minus 130. That is so good odds. I bet at least $100 on that. I do think Galatasaray is gonna be a really good team this tournament. Like I said, I have them winning. Finishing second in Group B. I love their mid laner. Is it Bolulu? He's improved a lot. He has expanded his champion pool. I do like the balance they have as a team. I've seen their footage where they dominate throughout the mid game, late game. As long as they do okay mitigating the early game damage in terms of objectives and Rift and Dragon and all that, I do think Galatasaray will dominate this. And I do like this matchup for kill upside as well. So I do think this is going to be a smash matchup to target for betting and DFS purposes. I love Galatasaray, but, maybe they'll prove me wrong and they'll kind of come out flat. I don't know. But I do think there is a competition level gap here between these two teams. I do think Unicorn of Love used to be good, but not anymore. Just their competition level has gone down, and I just don't believe in them, in my opinion. So, yeah, I love this Turkish team, Galatasaray, so we'll see what happens there. So those are my initial thoughts of the matchups. As you can see, a lot of people are betting right now on these matchups. The odds are changing constantly. So depending on if you think, if you see, better odds than this somewhere else on different betting websites, I would go do that. But for now, like I said, I gave you my winners. I gave you my thoughts, and I wanted to share with you what I have here. This is the preview of the outcomes of each group for the play-in stage. So as you can see, I'm comparing the jungle control percentage for for the year 2021 thus far, and the summer split and the summer split playoffs in each respective regions for these two teams. So really, I'm comparing apples to oranges, just like I mentioned for the MSI tournament, where a bunch of teams different from various regions come together and play against each other. And obviously, the only data really what we have is from their regions, collective, respectively. So it's not it's not a good data to compare, in my opinion, other than just kind of look at how they did in their respective regions. But I also took a look at, like I said, the MSI stats for those teams like Infinity Esports or DFM, for those teams who participated in the MSI between the summer and the spring split. I kind of saw, how they did, how they fared, and, how I think that will translate into this World's tournament. So this is the order that I think we'll end up we'll end up seeing. I have LNG finishing first. I do have Hanwha Life finishing second, and I have Peace finish third, Red Canids fourth, and then Infinity Esports fifth. Let's talk about some things here. Obviously, LNG and HLE, China and Korea. I mean, they're two elite teams in my opinion. I do think they are a tier above everybody else in the group. And I do think Peace is the closest one, but not close, but closest one amongst these three worst teams. I do have Red Canids. Like I said, they're a bloody team. They played in CBLOL, the Brazilian league, where they love to fight. As you can see, the combined kills per minute is really good. So I would target the opponents that are playing against Red Canids if those teams are on the DFS slate. Now, if you think Red Canids will win, you might as well make them a long stack because they're gonna win through team fights. Infinity Esports, as you can see, their jungle control percentage in the summer split playoffs was not very good, and then their combined kills per minute is not very good, so they tend to play very, very slow. And they also had the lowest jungle control percentage and the bad early game rating in MSI. So with no kill upside and those bad metrics, I'm full fading Infinity Esports on all DFS slates. So that's the stance I'm taking. Obviously for DFS, League of Legends, low DFS, you kind of have to make a stance like this. And that's the stance I'm making. I might as well just make them red. So anyway, so that's what I got. As you can see, Hanwha Life really didn't have good jungle control percentage. They struggled, they struggled in the summer split until the end, until actually when it really, really mattered. So the World's qualifiers tournament part of it, they won some games they had to win. Thankfully, they had a good outcome in the spring split, so that kind of helped them to catapult themselves into, the last ticket to qualify for the Worlds. So as you can see, their jungle control percentage was not very good throughout the entire split, throughout the year, frankly, except for the last month or 2 months or so. And then, as you can see, their summer split playoffs jungle control percentage was, much better. But like I said, so you can see the outcome, the range of outcomes for this team. They can be very volatile. They can be really good, or really good. I wouldn't say really great. I would say really good, but then they can also be pretty bad. So like I said, so if you are a betting person, targeting HLE as the opponent would not be the worst idea. So I do think LNG and HLE will finish first and second, and Peace and Red here third and fourth, and then Infinity maybe fifth. Group B, like I said, there's no Chinese or Korean team here, so it's much closer amongst these teams. BYG Beyond Gaming from Taiwan, in my opinion, is the dark horse. Not the dark horse, it's the clear-cut winner, in my opinion, just based on everything that I saw, the eye test from the highlights that I saw these teams play, and that the metrics support that. I do think Galatasaray from Turkey, like I said, they're the dark horse. I do think they're going to finish better than Cloud9. That's the stance I'm taking. Cloud9 can obviously be really good. From the United States, they have Perks in the mid lane, and they have Blabber in the jungle. I do think they're a good team, but they tend to struggle when it comes to Worlds. I do think Galatasaray, I think their jungle control percentages are really, really good, and their mid lane's really good, in my opinion. So I do think they can go definitely battle against Cloud9 here, and then other teams here below them. So I like them as a dark horse. I have them finish second, and then I have Cloud9 finish third, DFM finish fourth, and then Unicorns of Love finish last. I do see that the combined kills per minute for Cloud9 and DFM are pretty bad. So, like I said, I think I said it earlier on the matchup analysis, but between Cloud9 and DFM, I think they're playing against each other. I think that game is fully avoidable unless it kind of blows up. But I just feel like, just based on the metrics, I don't like that game for kill upside. But for other teams, BYG and GS, I mean, they tend to play fast, and UofL, Unicorns of Love, they play fast as well. So targeting them as the whichever team plays against them, I think gets a bump on the kill upside. So that will be interesting. So I'm gonna say exposure to opponents versus UofL for kill upside as well. Kind of like what I set up here for Red Canids. So I think it'll be interesting. But Red Canids is like really fast, 0.94. So anyway, so that's what I got for you guys today, at least throughout the Play-In stages. I will try to make a daily video for each slate. It really is funky depending on how DraftKings and FanDuel proceed with these individual day slates. So we'll see what happens, because as you can see, each team play against different teams within the group, and sometimes they play twice and sometimes they play only once. So we'll see what they do on those sites. But in terms of, and before I forget, in terms of if you're looking to place any future bets, like I said, I like Galatasaray to win or to finish second in Group B. So I definitely have them beat some of these teams, throughout the play-in stage. And I like Beyond Gaming to finish first in this group. And then it wouldn't be the worst idea to have Galatasaray finish first or second, in Group B as well. So like I said, they're the dark horse. And, for Group A, pretty typical. I have LNG and HLE winning. I feel like the other three teams do not match up well against them. So, we'll see what happens. But if you guys like the video, please, drop a like or subscribe to this channel. If you, have any questions, please send me a message on Twitter at DFS_Chan. I'd be happy to kind of talk through any DFS slates if you are interested in my insights. I am as you can see, I'm a pretty data heavy guy. So, I will share any of the insights or metrics that I, emphasize and tend to use. And, those have been very, helpful and useful and kind of, making any profits on these slates or bets. So if you guys have anything, talk to me. If you want to just talk about League of Legends, Worlds tournament, I'd be happy to talk with you as well. So anyway, that's all I got. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.